In this video, I'm going to show you my home gym essential items, things that I use literally every single day and that have held up across the last 8 months since I've built my home gym, as well as just even longer. I'm talking some of these items have lasted me 5+ years. With that said, I do have an affiliate link down below where you can check out each item. If you do decide to click one of those links, I will receive commission for that, which will go to supporting me, my family, and the channel. So if you like that, cool, click the link. If not, you can just search all these on Amazon. So like I said, a lot of these items are budget friendly. I went for quality, but I'm not gonna spend an arm and a leg for something that's a hunk of metal or a piece of fabric. So that's a good starting point with these Harbinger lifting straps. These are fantastic. I've had these actually since 2019, and I've literally had these same exact pair. They go for around 10 bucks, I believe, maybe a little bit less. And they're just quality straps. They work, the fabric's really nice. I did have to, at one point, take a lighter to the ends of these and just singe it a bit so that way they weren't fraying as much. I may have to do that one more time. But besides that, I've washed them, I've beat them up, I've lifted 500 pounds with these guys, and they continue to hold up time and time again. So highly, highly recommend these lifting straps. Really good for, just taking your grip out of the exercise and allowing you to lift that much more weight, especially for lower body activities, pulling, rowing type things. Really, really good product here. And it's something that just continues to provide and work well. The second item on my list is this Kensui, I believe is how you say it. And these are their Swissies. I believe it's the version 1. They do have a version 2 out there, but these were a little bit cheaper for me. I got these about 8 months ago, and they essentially just hook on to a pull-up bar and turn it into a parallel grip pull-up. They also have these little holes here so that we can clip on a carabiner, and that allows for you to use these for rowing, different activities like that. I've even seen them hook them onto a barbell and then turn that into a more neutral grip, bent over row or anything like that. These are great. So far, so good. Like I said, I've had them for 8 months. I think they're worth every single penny, mainly because I only have a straight bar for my pull-ups, and these just turn them into a neutral grip, which allows me to lift that much more weight, especially with weighted pull-ups. I haven't really used them for anything else, but for their intended purpose, they work fantastic. And, no fluff, no BS. They hold up well. I weigh 200 pounds, and then I'll lift anywhere from 45 to 70 pounds on top of that. So with 270 pounds on there, these hold up and they don't snap, they don't break, and they also don't beat up my bar that's up there. They have this kind of rubber on the inside of them, so it doesn't scratch or slip or do anything like that. So highly recommend these. These are great and probably one of my favorite purchases that I've made. The next items on my list are these little squat wedges. Now, there's a lot of squat wedges that are out there, and to be honest, I think they're a little bit gimmicky. I really do like the function of a squat wedge, but I'm not gonna spend $30, $40 for something just because it has some branding on it. So with that said, I got these off of Amazon, and they're really nice. They're super cheap. I think they're about $15 is what I'm seeing over here. And they come with 3, so you get a larger one that puts you at a little bit more of an angle. And then these 2 smaller ones, which I use more often than not, just because I squat with them for the most part, or I do push-ups on them as well. Really nice for if you have wrist pain. You put your hand on there, and it just provides like a little bit of a slope. You're able to do full push-ups without putting that excessive pressure through the wrist that can sometimes tick things off. With that said, they just hold up. They're the same material as like a foam roller, so they're practically indestructible as long as you're not, taking a saw to them or something. But there's nothing that I've really been able to do to beat them up over the last 8 months. So we'll continue to see, but I'm just assuming based off of foam rollers that have, you'd probably think of foam rollers that are in your commercial gym that are just still going from when foam rollers were initially made, and these should hold up the same exact way. So really do like these. Great, very versatile, and I continue to find different uses for them each and every day. Now, the most expensive item that is on my list for a home gym essential are these Power Block adjustable dumbbells. These are the Elite EXP 90s or Elite 90 EXPs. I was skeptical when I first got these just because I thought, wow, you know, they've been the original design since they first came out. They really haven't updated anything compared to like, you know, Rep Pepins or something like that out there. And so with that said, I just really thought I should have gone with something a little bit newer, more modern. And I'm glad I didn't, because with these being priced, you know, you can get into the Elite EXP series for about $400 tops, $300. You know, I imagine on Amazon Prime Day or Black Friday, they get super, super cheap. So I got the Elite EXP 90s for $600 for a pair, which is just absurd, right? You know, if you really compare that to a full rack of dumbbells out there that only go up to like 50 pounds, you're spending $600 minimum. That's a deal a lot of the times, unless you're getting them used and off like Facebook Marketplace. So with that said, I cannot recommend these enough. I really didn't think I was gonna like them. I kept thinking, oh man, I'll just get them initially and I'll, you know, upgrade to the Rep Pepins here over time. No, I'm fully convinced that these are the best dumbbells that are on the market. They don't need to change the design because they just work and they're cheap. You know, at the end of the day, they're plastic and metal. They don't really need to be that expensive. And I personally like that they don't have a lot of like moving pieces that can break. Like the only thing I worry about is this little attachment piece here that can snap. And I think I haven't looked at it, but it's cheap. You know, it's much better than something like, you know, some of the mechanics that are inside like the Rep Pepins or something like that, right? So that said, I freaking love these things. The Elite EXP 90s, I think are essential, especially if you're anybody who's like trying to lift some weight. But the 45s are a great place. I recommend them to my clients, and every client that has gone and purchased the 45s have gone up to the 90s because they get super strong and they just work. They like them. They work really well. The really only downside that I can say about them is that sometimes these things will stick together, specifically like the 70 and the 80s, like the yellow ones on the side, they'll stick together a little bit. You get a bit sketchy. You pick them up and you're like, oh, is that going to slip off and like break my foot? But you just wiggle them around a little bit and they'll pop right out without that plate being stuck on there. But that said, these things they just work. You know, I really cannot recommend them enough. If you're going to have a home gym, you don't even need all this fancy stuff. Like just start with a pair of some decent adjustable dumbbells. I fully expect to give these to my kids down the line when they get a little bit older, and just be like, hey, here you go. Like you can have them. Like they're just indestructible. All right, next on the list, we have these fractional plates. I've seen these a lot. You know, I worked out at a kind of strength powerlifting gym for a couple of years, and they had like some 1 1/4 plates. And I've also just looked at them to be like, oh, like these are, it sounds smart in theory, right? To just add like a fraction of a pound to the bar. And I just never bought them. You know, it was just something I was like, man, I don't want to have that in my bag. Looks kind of lame, especially because they're like colorful and all that stuff. It's like, last thing I want to do is show someone I'm going to put on 1 pound onto the barbell. Maybe that's just me and my ego. But with that said, if you're in a home gym, you have no excuses. And I fully committed. I was like, okay, you know, bench press, these other movements, landmine pressing, things like that can sometimes be a struggle, especially for like upper body growth and development. I now look at these and I'm like, these are absolutely essential. They can be a bit pricey for the amount of weight that you get. It comes up to around $26 as of right now, but upwards of $43.99, which that's a lot per pound. But with that said, they're gonna last forever. And I, again, use them every single day. Like it's just a great way to add some additional weight without going up 2.5 pounds on something. Or if I'm stuck on a certain lift for a while, like these are just fantastic. And I've been able to progress my bench, been able to progress my weighted dips, pull-ups, all those different upper body exercises that much more effectively without missing reps or going to complete an utter failure. And it's just really helped with my overall physique development and gains. I'm also really excited to have these for when my son gets older because, hey, I can, take these up. He might be, in 6th grade when he starts lifting, and starting by just going up by like a pound for him is perfect, and a great option and tool that is available. So I can't recommend this enough. They have pairs. Like I said, the link in the description will have the pairs of these, but you can buy just one set, though I don't know why you would. But they come with a 1/4 pound, a 3/4 pound, 1/2 pound, and then a full pound here as well. So really, really great. I like these better than micro gains because even though you put micro gains on your dumbbells, my plan is basically just buy a strong magnet, put it on my power blocks, and then just chunk these on the side of that and basically do the same thing as micro gains without paying $100 for a total of 5 pounds or 2.5 pounds. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. These are cost effective, especially, Black Friday, Amazon Prime Day type stuff. A great snag if you have a barbell and you're interested in just increasing your lifts without missing reps. And in keeping on the topic of weights and plates for barbells, barbell standard weight plates are just, that's why they have the name standard, right? Like, there's nothing special about them. But that said, they're the cheapest on the market, and I found them to be accurate. I weighed each and every one of these. I believe I have 145. That's a little bit shy on weight. It came out to like 44.25 or something like that. So I just kind of keep that on the back wall. I do have Barbell Standards rubber plates, which are cool, but I honestly wish I just went with more iron plates. I personally like the clank of the iron plates, and again, just much more cost effective. It used to be that the rubber plates were cheaper. They are not anymore for whatever reason. I'll be honest with you guys. If you want brand new, this is a great time to do it. But that said, you can find these guys on Facebook Marketplace super, super cheap. They just might be beat up and not look as pretty. I went with brand new just because I wanted to be bougie and I wanted to have my plates and my own plates and whatever. Maybe you're like, that's stupid. Yeah, it is kind of stupid because I spent more on it. But with that said, like, these are, I won't even say budget, like, they're just solid plates. They're just iron. They have a really nice coating. I do a lot of pull-ups, obviously my barbell lifts, but I do run chains through them, and they're just now starting to show a little bit of wear in there, but like minimal. I'm sure I'll have more wear over time. But yeah, this is stuff, again, like, you buy it one time, you're going to have it for life, and pass it down to your kids. So I'm fully expecting to pass this down to my kids one day when I, upgrade or something like that, or they want to start their own home gym, whatever. I just look at this as like long-term stuff that I would just keep forever in a lot of ways. So the Barbell Standard plates, highly recommend. They're holding up. They do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're priced in as well as they can be. Next on the list, I have some budget-friendly cable attachments. So if you are someone that has a cable stack like I do here, rack here in the cables, this is a Rep Athena, and Rep has, their special attachments and all that fun stuff. And I was not about to spend $50, $60, even sometimes $100 for, a V-bar attachment or a straight bar attachment. Like, that's silly. It's a chunk of metal. It needs to rotate a little bit. It needs to stabilize a little bit, right? So again, I bought this kind of like the dumbbells, thinking, hey, I'll upgrade eventually to like better attachments and all that stuff. And again, this is my home gym. I'm the only one using this. Maybe in a commercial setting, these would not hold up very well, but in 8 months, these work, and you get a lot for just a single purchase. So I'm pulling all this stuff off my wall control system here because I keep forgetting that this all came in. I got this around on Black Friday for $45. They're $55 right now, and they typically run $69.99 on Amazon, right? And you're getting a total of one, two, three, four attachments plus 3 extra carabiners. Sorry, 4 carabiners, right? So for $55, the price of a single attachment from Rep or Rogue, you get 4 attachments. Again, commercial gym, they probably wouldn't hold up nearly as well. But for your home gym, where it's you, maybe your wife, your kids, your significant other, some friends coming over to use this, I mean, you can't beat that, right? It's a chunk of metal. It's not supposed to do a lot. The only issue I've had is you can see this little gap here on the V-bar. On this side, it's fallen down, so like the glue kind of gave way and you have to pull it back up. You know, I put a towel there. It can be a little bit rough on the insides of my hands, but honestly, like that's the only thing. Oh, and the other thing is this can squeak, right? When I'm doing some different cable variations, curls, wrist extensions, something like that, it squeaks a little bit. I'm gonna put some WD-40 next time I remember. But with that said, it all works well. The rope attachment is really nice. The nylon on it, it works great. It's tough, it's been durable. I've been doing a lot of lifts with that. The only thing I really haven't used is this rowing attachment, just because I don't really like it and I don't quite have the setup. You know, this maxes out at 110 pounds and I can pull 110 pounds with one arm. So 2 arms, kind of out of the question for me. But with that said, again, for $55, you get 4 attachments and some extra carabiners. I think it is a no-brainer. They've held up over the last 8 months. I will continue to sing their praises because they just work, you know, and they're cheap, right? And that's what I'm all about. And next on the list, I have a pack of grip strength trainers is what they're called. They're just grippers, right? You grab a hold of them, you're able to knock them out, strengthen your grip. The pack starts at 50 pounds and I believe it goes all the way up to 200 pounds. This is a 150, but it comes with all these different colors. I actually have 2 packs of these because I like them that much. The first pack I ever bought, I've just worn them out, right? And I bought those back in 2019 and the springs on them, it's just really easy to, you know, close them. I thought I was super strong until I bought a new pack and that new pack has humbled me quite a bit, right? So this is the old 200 pounder that I have and I'm able to close that pretty easily. And then now here's my new 200 and it gets a lot harder. I can't even close out my left hand right now, right? But that said, these work really, really well. I keep one in my car. I keep a couple of them over on my desk here and obviously keep them here on my wall control system. They're just too easy. And so if you're someone who's serious about improving their grip strength, which I think everybody should be, there's really no easier way to do it than just buying these chunks of metal. With that said, don't go out there and buy the super expensive ones. The most expensive one I have is this 250 pounder. I did get this off Amazon, but it was like 50 bucks for this guy. So with these initial packs, and maybe they're cheaper because there is some variance to them and their actual poundage that you can close. But for a beginner and you're getting started and you want to just like have some of these laying around the house so that way you hit your grip more often. Again, I got one over on my coffee table right there that I see. And I just hit these whenever I possibly can in order to get that stronger. These are a great entry level, you know, piece. You can use them with clients, you can use them with kids because they go all the way down. I just highly, highly recommend these grippers. They work really stinking well. Now, one of my favorite pieces for home gym essentials is the dip belt. The Harbinger straps that I have held up for so long that I was like, hey, I'll probably just stick with this brand. And it just so happened to be the cheapest brand that I could find on Amazon. So this guy runs about 50 bucks USD. I lied. It's not the cheapest one, right? That is pretty expensive. But I did go with the Harbinger just because I do trust that they'll hold up. And at least, you know, it's kind of the same material of sorts. The only complaint that I have about these is there's a little bit of fraying here on this very end piece. But besides that, for the past 8 months, you know, I've used this, I won't say every single day, but at least 3 times a week. And with a good amount of weight, right? Like 70 pounds on this for dips. I use this for crunching variations or like reverse crunches with the cables. resisted bear crawls. I put on like some good weight with this and it continues to hold up. And I'm not really concerned about the chain as much as I am like the attachment points, right? Like, and I've just seen horror stories where people say, you know, they've had a dip belt for 2 months and then this starts to rip right in here and come off because of the weight that they're using. This just doesn't seem to be doing that. Maybe I'm not lifting enough weight, right? That can always be the problem. But with that said, I would say the match that I put on this is 120 pounds. Didn't show any signs of like wanting to rip at all. That said, I've only done that one time, but it continues to hold up. I really like and trust the Harbinger brand. It's nothing sexy. It's simple. And again, it does what it is intended to do. And next on the list, we have our clips that go on your barbell, right? These are some just kind of generic, they're called Clout Fitness barbell clamps or collars. They're plastic. To be honest, in a commercial setting, these would not hold up probably for, I would give them a week and a half, right? Just with the constant use of them. So with that said, I knew that purchasing them and I was like, you know, I just need to get like a beginner set. Just give me something. Like, last thing I want to do is spend $50 on a chunk of plastic that's just supposed to hold weights on, right? So I went with the cheapest ones and they're on Amazon. They're $15. They have 1,800 5-star reviews and it's like, all right, whatever. Like if they break, they break. I'll upgrade. I just need something right now. And these have held up for 8 months now. So like I said, in a commercial setting, these are probably snap, right? And I say that from working in commercial settings, working in even just like training studios, these plastic ones do not hold up or they start to slide off. These haven't yet. And I'm actually pretty surprised about that. Between my wife and myself using this home gym every day, using barbells every day, they work. So I recommend them from home gyms. Commercial settings, I have no idea if they would hold up. I honestly doubt they would hold up just from my other experiences. But home gym wise, they work. And if you're in the need of just like some cheap clips of some sort, they get the job done, right? And when they break, I'll probably honestly get another set because they work well and my wife likes them. They're a lot easier for her to put on. She needs to hit the grippers a little bit more, but she likes them just because they snap down and then you press the button, they pop right off. Super simple. So yeah, I like these. They work really well. They fit on the wall control really nicely too. They look good. And the tried and true on this list, like if there's anything I would recommend that just holds to the test of time, is this Pro Source Fit mini foam roller, right? I don't like full-size foam rollers. I think they're silly. They take up a lot of space. This guy fits on the shelf. I've had this guy since 2015. That's how long. I think they've actually, no, they haven't even changed the branding. It's $10.99, $11. It just works, man. Like it hasn't, you know, the first sign of damage I saw was when my kid is teething and he bit into it literally yesterday. And that's the first sign of damage I've had. I use this every single day for foam rolling, you know, tight muscles, getting those muscles to relax a bit, as reference points for different exercises, additional stability. There's so many uses for this. And again, just that, whatever that foam material that this stuff is made of, it just holds up, right? So you buy this and you can literally have it forever, right? It lasted so stinking long at this point, and the wear on it is practically nil. Like again, I'm just kind of making this video off the fly and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've used this that long with clients and everybody. And it's just continued to hold up. So I highly recommend getting a mini foam roller. These are great. You have the ones with like the ribs on them and all that kind of stuff. Don't do that. That thing, it's more expensive for really no reason at all. This cheap one, it does the trick. It works well. You can use it every single day. Getting to some more aesthetic type stuff. As you can see over here, I have these pegs for my barbell standard weight plates, and they work very, very well. I have them on both sides. So there's around 225 pounds on each side of this rack here. So these pegs, I got 4 of them. They're a 4-pack. I ended up buying a total of 8. They are a little bit pricey for a chunk of metal, right? I keep saying that, and it's just because when I was shopping for these things, I actually got them off of Temu, I will say, but I found the same brand on Amazon. You can find them on Temu cheaper. This might be the time to do that. But that said, these guys work out well. The installation was super easy. They have started to chip a little bit on the top, just from sliding the iron plates on and off of them. But that said, they look really good, easy to install, and it makes this whole area just look that much more aesthetic, in my opinion. It just lines up really well, having that on both sides, as well as just making it super, super easy to put weights on and off of a barbell. You know, you just go to one side, slide it right on, slide it right off, put it right on the pegs, versus, you know, commercial gym, you gotta go all the way over this place, grab them, you know, people are moving plates around, all that stuff. It's like, it's just so nice and aesthetic and just convenient. And that was the biggest thing when it came to my home gym and building this out. It's just convenience, aesthetics, and budget friendly with things that last, right? I want something that's going to last. And so far, these have lasted very well. With those scratches, my plan is just hit them with spray paint over time. And their anchor, as long as you put them in a stud, you're golden, right? Put them in the stud. And with 4 of them, like I said, 225 pounds, 250 pounds, seems to be working. Don't quote me on that, you know, and if it falls out of your wall, sorry. But that said, this has worked for me really, really well, and I highly recommend these wall pegs. To add to that, I do have for my barbell back over here, you may not be able to see it, but I'll put it on the screen, just a simple little attachment that lets me store my barbell vertical. Now, you may be familiar with PRX and some of their branded stuff. They have a lot of cool little wall attachment things, but their single use like barbell wall attachment thing is just crazy expensive. Same with a lot out there. And so I just went with the cheap one. You know, I went with this VO single limit barbell hanger. And it's just like a little bracket, comes out, has a fork on the end, and you put your barbell there. And it's got some rubber on it so that way you don't beat your barbell up. It works. It's super nice, super convenient, keeps my barbell off the floor, keeps everything organized in this small space. Highly recommend it. I wouldn't spend more for a chunk of, you know, metal. Like, why are we trying to gouge people when it's just a chunk of metal at the end of the day, right? It's aesthetic, it works, it's $13. I have had it for 8 months and I've had 0 damage to my wall, to anything like that. I just can't recommend it enough. It works, you know what I mean? Continuing with aesthetics, we have over here my beautiful wall control system. And this is by far my favorite purchase. You know, like the rack, the cables, cool. I got a zinc Colorado bar. It's black, it's cool. But like, this organizational system just gets me freaking going. And I can't recommend it enough. I watched a couple of gym review channels that are out there, and they had like talked about having these guys. And when I saw this rack, I just was like, man, that guy, like this thing's gonna go perfectly right in here and just have all the attachments like where I want it to go. And it just lives up to the hype. Like, I love this freaking thing so much, especially with the lights. I put lights, which are, we'll talk about in a minute, but I put them on the inside and then wrap them all the way around the outside. So it's the same strand that I'm continuing to use. And it just gives this nice pop to it. And it just works. They have these little hooks on them that I keep everything. I will link in the description the starter pack for the hooks. That's what I have here. And I haven't needed really anything else. There's honestly stuff on like hooks on here that I really don't need. But I'm able to put my J cups up here, all my cable attachments, these little, you know, things that you insert here. I can't think of the name of it right now, but like I hooked them on here. It works really stinking well. This is meant for garages, but for this type of setting, I think, and put some lights on it, it looks really, really cool. So I freaking love this thing. If you have a home gym, I cannot recommend it enough. I am going to get a couple of these for my garage, probably here on Prime Day. If not, I'm going to wait till Black Friday. They usually have some deals. And just wait for that because they can be a little bit expensive at times. List price is typically $60 for this exact unit. Just, you know, these 2 little rectangles here that you put together, but it is listed at $52. It's one of their best sellers. I mean, hell, this is, wow. 14K 5-star reviews, pretty crazy. I will put a 5-star on this, like literally after this call, literally after this video, I will put 5 stars on that because it is so stinking great. And it's one of my favorite purchases that I think I might have ever made. That said, it wouldn't be nearly as cool without some lights, right? So having some kind of lighting, I use the Wiz lighting here. So the Wiz Connect is 32-foot LED light strip. This has the hot spots on it, which, you know, I thought I wouldn't mind as much, and I was gonna put like a diffuser around it. Decided not to. It works. It still gives it that nice pop. It's $27.98 right now. Usually lists for about $40, which is kind of a lot. But that compared to this one over here, which I saved up for, that's $110. These do connect to my phone as well as these light bulbs above me. So I just have full control over the system. There are little switches back here that you can like turn things on and off with. But that said, $110. This is like $40. This is a great way to like get into it. I don't think you can take the strip that's over here on the wall and fit it into the wall control system. So this is like much more flat. And then I've also attached it with a magnetic strip that goes around. So I put like the adhesive of the Wiz, you know, while you like attach it to stuff, I attach it to that magnetic strip, and then that magnetic strip runs on the inside and the outside. That way, if I do decide to change it, I can just take it right off of there, disconnect it and reconnect it just like that. Boom, boom. And I can change it in the future if I really want to without like super gluing it into my wall control system. So lighting is helpful. Lighting makes things cool in my opinion. I'm a sucker. I used to DJ back in college, so I love some lights. These light bulbs up here, it's a 6-pack. And well, I bought a 6-pack because I have 2 over here and 4 back here. And they come out to a total of $70. Wiz light bulbs, I have a bunch of them throughout my house. They're kind of like the Philips Hue. They're made, I believe, in the same factory, but they're much more budget friendly. And they work. I think I've only had 1 light bulb go out in my old house, which I bought in 2021. And I've only had 1 of those light bulbs go out. Like I literally took those light bulbs out, brought it into my new house here. They've lasted a long time. Their app interface is a little bit clunky at times, but for a budget option, cheap, and they make pretty colors, like I can't complain too much. So that's it. Those are my home gym essentials, especially for a smaller home gym like you see here. The power blocks and the wall control system, the weight plates are by far my favorite, items. The foam roller, the yoga blocks are my longest owned items that have continued to hold up over time. And everything else are just like nice little aesthetic pieces or, attachments that you can utilize, but they're all necessary in my opinion, especially if you have a cable stack, especially if you're someone that is serious about lifting. If you have a home gym, you clearly are serious about your fitness and your health and your overall wellness. So I highly recommend these items. Hopefully you can snag them at a good deal. I wouldn't buy any of these things if they weren't on sale. And so you either get them on Prime Day or you get them sometime around Black Friday. That said, even if you don't have a home gym, you can watch this and hopefully buy something for a loved one that does like fitness and has a home gym. So with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Link down in the description, and I earn a commission on the things that you click on down there. So it supports me and the family. If you do like what I have down here, you like the vibe, then check out my other videos. They're more posture, injury, rehab, and just fitness related overall. And you'll be able to see the home gym in action.